Hey Curators, welcome back for another episode, part 2 of the Yarn Curator Knitting and Spinning podcast. My name's Naomi. Welcome to my channel where I talk about what I've been making. If you watched my last episode, no, your eyes do not deceive you. I am in the exact same outfit because I am filming this on the exact Hey Curators, this is Editing Naomi here to say that I am actually publishing the shorter video first and that I will be posting a much longer traditional show and tell episode that is all finished objects coming up here in another week or so. I just happened to start editing this one first, so it's what you get first. Hopefully you'll enjoy the brief intermission and that this will tide you over till I'm able to post that longer video. So enjoy! Exact same day. I am, however, at a slightly different angle because unlike my last video, this guy has moved over here and I cannot feature Ping Pong in a video should he choose to co-star in it. Let's see if we can get him in focus for a minute. I mean, just look at that beautiful sleeping baby. How could I not show him off? So anyways, I said if I had time and I was still feeling up for it, I would film kind of a part 2 of what I've been working on, works in progress type things. This is not everything, but I think it'll be enough, mainly because I don't want to go hunt down my one other active project. So you guys will just see that whenever you see it. I'll leave you in suspense. So what have I been working on since March? I mean, this is pretty much almost everything I've been making since March, which is essentially 2 sweaters and a bralette. A bralette. I know how to enunciate my words. So first up, we'll start with the one finished object of the lot, and it should be familiar to you because I did release a video on pattern release day for it. So in early March, late February, whenever, I signed up to test knit the Neigh pattern by Cailtin Hunter. If you're interested in hearing all of the particulars about that pattern, click this video or it'll be linked down below or somewhere. It's on my channel, it's on playlist, it's titled An A for Neigh. But I will show it off here again if you don't want to go watch that one-off video. So here it is. It is knit out of Kelbourne Woolens on their Mojave base. The colorways are olive heather and oatmeal heather. I think they just look so beautiful together. And I knit the size 3 in the pattern, which I believe accommodates around a 44 or 48 inch bust, or maybe that's the range, 44 to 48 inches. I don't quite remember. Cailtin writes her patterns with like 9 inches of positive ease, and that's just too much for me. So I usually size down in her patterns because I don't want that much ease. It is knit, let's get to the details. It's knit from the bottom up, and then you pick up the armholes and knit the sleeves, and you also pick up the neckband and knit that. I do believe the pattern is written for a twisted rib, however, I couldn't be bothered to do that. I also talk about this in my video, but I modified my sleeve hole depth, so I followed the instructions for one size up. And then I accidentally picked up the sleeves on a US size 5, so the body is knit on US 6, the sleeves are knit on US 5s, whatever. They fit nice. And then I also held the neckband stitches live when I did my 3 needle bind offs. So I only picked up like the stitches around here on the side, and then I just knit those, which I think helps give a nice neckline. As you can see here, I've got a stitch marker in the back. That's essentially my version of a tag. So I can always tell the front and back from my sweater, although this one has short row shaping, so it's pretty easy to tell. And yeah, on the whole, I really like the yarn. I love the depth of color of the green. When you look at it in person, those olive tones really come through because the color is made by blending different shades of green in the fiber, and then it's spun, so you get that tonality throughout. But yeah, I really like it. I know I said what inspired me in my last video, and someone was like, Naomi, you should have made a unicorn. And I debated heavily. Oh, did I debate heavily? Either modifying the chart, or I still might go in and duplicate stitch a little horn on one of them, because I think that would be super cute, and it'll look a lot less like Lucifer, which is this terrifying statue out of the Denver International Airport. If you've ever flown in or out of there, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's honestly, when I first saw this pattern with Cailtin's sample in that like rusty red, it's one of the first things I thought of. But yeah, this is my finished sweater. As I said, I'm not going to go in and out of all of the particulars because I do have that FO video. So if you want to hear more on my thoughts on the pattern and this yarn and all of that good stuff, head on over there. Not meant to be a shameless plug. I just don't want to waste our time when that content's already created. Last week I did cast on a cheeky new little cast on. She's a little sexy. It's my first bralette. I've been wanting to make a bralette for a while now, and at first I was like, wow, those seem really impractical because you're making a wool bra and I live in Florida. But I'm mostly making this to wear around the house. I might add some elastic to it if I think it would work as like a functional bralette for like running errands or something. I mean, obviously I would probably be wearing something over it, but I pretty much only wear like that. Like that's bralettes are pretty much all I wear anymore anyways for support. Nobody's got time for underwire. The Fawn and the Fox is the name of the indie dyer, and this is in the Water Lilies colorway. It is a sparkle yarn, so it has stellina throughout the base, and I was gifted this yarn by my sweet friend Rachel, who has Knitting the Stash is the name of her channel. I always want to call it like mustache yarn, but I know that's the name of another dyer. So I figured, since I normally don't buy yarn with stellina in it, I've kind of been hanging on to this, waiting for the right project. I did debate making another angel face turban, which I love, and I debated heavily making a second one out of this yarn. And I've been eyeing it for a while because it's like all of my favorite colors in a skein based on one of my favorite artists, Monet's Water Lilies. And so it just speaks to me. As I said, I've been wanting to make a bralette for a while. And so I cast on Jessie May's Ripple bralette. And as you can see here, if it'll focus, as you can see here, it is cast on at the bottom in a 1x1 twisted rib, and then you move into a different rib for the body because I don't want to give away the entire pattern by describing it. So here it is. I have pretty much made it to the point in the pattern where I will then begin the next steps. I'm debating knitting it just a little bit longer than the pattern calls for. So it's kind of between like a tank, crop tank, and a bralette. Like I said, it's just for around the house. I'm not too worried about it, but little bit of extra length never hurt anyone. My yarn is pulling a little bit, but since this is a bralette and it's for comfort and around the house, I'm not too futzed with it. But I am just loving working with this yarn. I am loving whenever I get to like this color section right here, which it's not showing up quite true to color on camera. It's like a bluey green, and then it has these beautiful speckled pinks and greens and all those different colors in there. are just really pretty. It's blowing out a little bit with the light that I have. And it's just really pretty. I just love it. And you see, Little Miss just joined us back there. Let's confuse the camera even more. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this yarn. I'm just enjoying working on it. I'm enjoying like a simple, mindless, low stakes, low stress pattern, because as soon as I finished my Neigh, I jumped into a sample knit for Wool and Honey, which is a yarn shop in Michigan. They reached out beginning of April, so I was still in the middle of testing when I agreed to knit this sample for them, but it's all good. They're both almost done. So I cast this on last week because I know I'm gonna finish the sample within the deadline that they requested. So that gave me a second to breathe and cast something on for pleasure. That's just for me. The Neigh is for me as well, but it's not quite like, you know, like when you pick out the yarn and the pattern and yada yada. So it's just like, this is like my potato chip knitting at the moment. I actually stayed up till almost midnight last night just knitting away on this because I'm enjoying it. And that's what matters. You gotta make yourself happy. I can make you happy. So last but not least, I have been knitting a sample, as I said, for Wool and Honey, which is a local yarn shop in Michigan. And so they requested that I make this sweater. Just want to make sure it's focusing. So this is the Llana del Rio. It's a pattern by Kelbourne Woolens. I don't know if they have, Megan Kelly is the name of the designer. I don't think it's the same Megan Kelly of Fox News, formerly of Fox News. And so this pattern is also knit out of Kelbourne Woolens on their Mojave base. No, this was knit on the Scout base. I believe I said Mojave earlier. This is knit out of Mojave, and Mojave is a warm weather friendly yarn. It is a cotton linen blend. It's 60% cotton, 40% linen. It's not the softest yarn in your hand to work with, so that's what that looks like. It's blowing out. It's a lot of a deeper, richer blue, closer to this color, pulled back away from the light. Let me see if I can give you a bigger sample. So I did do a gauge swatch with this, and I think this is just a property of cotton yarns, which is when I was knitting my swatch, it looked really loose. Like my gauge looked really loose, and I thought there is no way I'm gonna get gauge with the recommended needle size. Like I'm gonna have to go down a size. But then after I blocked it, it actually shrunk up quite a bit to where I was under gauge. And so I think it's just cotton yarn. I know Zoe experienced this when she knit her outline tee, which was a predominantly cotton yarn. Can't remember if it had something blended into it as well. And Zoe is my sister. She has Felicity Yarn Studio, and she is my knitting counterpart. But knowing that it would shrink, I didn't change my needle size because I didn't feel like swatching again, I'll be perfectly honest. And so what ended up happening was the main thing that was really off was my row gauge. The width gauge was close enough so that I knew with blocking I could get it within the specifications. So this is pretty much done. All I have to do is bind off the neck. But this pattern is, as I said, it's knit in pieces. You knit the front and the back separate, and then you knit each sleeve flat and separate, and then you do a whole heck ton of seaming. So here it is. Feast your eyes upon it in the lovely little lace panel. So it's just plain in the back and then plain on the sleeves as well. And I have to say, each component I feel like knit up pretty quick, and each component is knit from the bottom up. And so if it were me and I weren't making this as a sample following every direction to the T, I probably would have done some modifications. One, I probably would have knitted in the round. I'm not even gonna lie. Two, I would have picked up the sleeves at the underarms and knit those in the round down. I don't know if you gain that much from knitting it in pieces and seaming it together. I don't know if it adds that much extra structure to the garment, or if you get that much more benefit from the shaping. It is knit in a way so that it's a high-low hem, so it's about 1.5 inches longer in the back. But once again, these are things that could be resolved by knitting it flat to start and then joining in the round and knitting up. That's just my 2 cents. But since I am knitting this for the shop, I followed the pattern exactly as it's written, which meant painstakingly mattress stitching a lot of things together. I did learn a new seaming technique, which is seaming perpendicularly, which is how the shoulders come together. Since your stitches are going 2 different ways, there's a special way to seam together so that the 2 sets of stitches that are running in opposite directions come together nicely. I can't get this thing to stop focusing on him. I'm sorry, it's because he's so handsome is what it has to be. So seaming perpendicularly was new. I was not the best mattress stitcher before this project. Normally I would crochet a seam together because it's a lot faster and easier in my opinion. However, I did mattress stitch all of the arms together as well as down the sides. I was doing most of the seaming last night. I got to the end of the last seam on the last side, pulled it tight, and then my yarn broke, so I had to actually rip all that out this morning and start over. So, and then yeah, I picked up my collar, and now I think I'm gonna do a tubular cast off because I think that'll look nice around the neck. And yeah, then it'll be done and I can mail it back to them. I don't think the lace was very hard. It was very easy to memorize, very beginner friendly. And if you were a beginner lace knitter, I think this is a very approachable pattern in that you're just knitting the panel flat back and forth. I don't know with the amount of seaming involved in the garment if it's the most approachable garment for a beginner. I would say it's probably, well no, a beginner can knit it. It's not that hard to do the seaming. I just find it tedious, which I think might be off-putting if you're a beginner. But everything in it is relatively simple. It's knitting stockinette, knitting ribbing, a very simple lace, which is just yarn overs, knit 2 togethers, and slip knits, and then mattress stitch. Like that's all the techniques you need to be able to craft this garment. So if you know how to do those things, and like I said, you don't even have to do mattress stitch. I would do it with a crochet hook and you'd be fine. I'm trying to think of why they have it knit flat, because in my brain the lace wouldn't even, it doesn't even matter because you would be purling, like you would knit the lace on the rest rows. I don't know, don't ask me. Clearly I am not a designer. Who am I to second guess their genius? Because I don't have that kind of, my brain just doesn't work that way. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I do have another WIP somewhere in the house. I just don't know where it is, and I don't feel like finding it. And since I gave a life update in my last video, this one's gonna be a wee bit short. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this a brief little snack of a work in progress video, and Leave me a comment down below, like I said, with what you're working on. If you've tried a new technique lately, if you do or don't like mattress stitch, would you ever consider seaming an entire garment, or would you modify it? Let me know your thoughts on sweater construction, because I feel like I've knit just about every construction at this point, and I know what I like. I know what I don't prefer. I am a top-down raglan kind of girl, and just something about it is my favorite form of sweater. It fits me the best, and I think I know how to modify it to fit my body the best. And then after that, surprisingly enough, is a bottom-up sweater. I actually don't like circular yokes that much. I find them to be a lot of extra fabric in the yoke. I don't particularly like their fit, or I don't like the way they lay the most on me. Their fit is usually good. I don't like the way, like when I lift my arms, I don't like the way the fabric lays on my chest. So how about that? Is that something you guys would be interested in? Is a video on different sweater construction styles? Because I have done just about everything at this point. So let me know down below if that's something you would be interested in hearing about. I can try on different styles and give you an idea of what we're working with and how they fit me. Everyone's shaped differently, but you can at least see what you're working with. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know down below. I think with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. So I hope you guys, until next time, I hope you enjoy whatever you're making. I hope it brings you joy. I'll talk to you later. Bye.